I'm going live. I pressed the button. One moment. All right, let me confirm that we are live.
It says broadcasting.
Yeah, it says that. Okay, we are. Hey, everybody. We are live on this awesome Thursday. And for those who do not know me, my name is Delilah Cordova, and this is my show, Marketing and Coffee. And what I do on this show is I give authors the opportunity to come on with me live and have a nice interview done to put on their website or to use for whatever they need to use it for. I also give them a spot on my blog post, or on my blog page on my website. So if you are an author and you're interested in having a live interview with me, go ahead and go to smartmarketing.com/blog, fill out the application, and come back to me. If you want to learn more about the show, you can go to marketingandcoffee.com. We also have sponsorships available, so let me know. Deborah, today
Hi.
I have with me Deborah Lynn Finn, and her book is, go ahead, Deborah.
Aaron and Me, Works in Progress.
Adam and Me, Works in Progress. So, Deborah, I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us about your book.
Okay. Well, my name is Deborah Lynn Fine. I written and published a book called Aaron and Me, Works in Progress. I would like to tell you that above all, it's a book about rising above adversity, both for the mother and the child in this book. And I wrote the story to give courage and hope to parents who are going through any number of situations with their children. It's a very dramatic story. The book begins with a mother taking her child for his 18-month-old checkup. And she is just floored when the pediatrician notices something that might be unusual about the child and then tells her that she needs to see a pediatric neurologist. The name of the condition is called neurofibromatosis, which is also referred to as NF, and the mother is completely shocked and unhappy with the pediatrician because she's not given an explanation. Sends her to the library to look up the condition in a medical book. And this begins the drama of the situation for this mother. Naturally, she and her husband, Hal, the main character's name is Kim, go through a battery of specialists before they are given sort of a non-diagnosis, which is he has some of the signs. We're not entirely sure, but we have to monitor him. And one of the other conditions that can coexist with neurofibromatosis is a learning disability such as ADHD, attention deficit disorder, or dyslexia. And that too comes up in the book. The book chronicles the mother's journey from that 18-month-old checkup until the child is in third grade. It took me 10 years to write this book between my computer going down and having to go to writers' groups to have the book edited. And I think that this will appeal to many people, parents, particularly mothers, It might appeal to teachers as well who deal with children who may have disabilities. And that's basically what the book is about.
Awesome. And, I think that is something that is common because, and I can imagine how scary it would have been for the mother in the story to have something happen, for a child to be sick and not have the knowledge or know much about it. And then, just have doctor tell you, like, we need
Well,
to take them over here. Like, what for? What's this? What's that? And then not have, did she not have those answers, or those questions answered? Or,
well, one thing I could say is that when you go to the library and look up a condition, the medical books talk about the very worst cases.
Mhm.
So she's imagining all these possibilities for her child. The
Right.
fear of the disease is prominent for this mother, and she becomes overprotective of the child as a result. But
Right.
eventually, as I said before, she does come to acceptance by the end.
Wow. I couldn't imagine. I have 5 kids, so I couldn't imagine taking my child to the pediatrician and then all of a sudden there's something wrong. I need to take them to somewhere else. I'd be like, well, I'd be like, why? Uh,
Right.
and then the not being knowledgeable in the subject and having to go to the library to figure it out. Because yeah, you would think
She's
that
the
the
main character, Kim, becomes very angry with the medical establishment, with
Mhm.
the education community.
Right,
Um, she
right,
feels that nobody is seeing her child for who he is.
right, are educating her on what it is, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy. It sounds really interesting to read and to see what the child goes through. What setting or what years does this run through? Is it like early 90s or is it recent? Which
Yes, it begins in the early 90s.
early 90s? Okay. So I knew it like the vibe was like early 90s something. um so Deborah, does writing energize or exhaust you?
Well, actually, neither. When I'm thinking about sitting down and writing, I have to get to my quiet place
Mhm.
where creativity may thrive. I also have to get into the minds of my characters, particularly Kim in this case, who is the mother. I have to think about how they will react, what their emotions may be, what their thoughts will be. So I'm brought to a different place than my own everyday.
Right. Well, and then doing that type of what kind of background research did you do to make this book happen?
Well, I was an elementary school teacher for a number of years, and I came across parents and children who faced any number of situations, and I believed that their voices needed to be heard.
Right.
I also wanted to highlight neurofibromatosis. It's a little known condition. It occurs in, I believe, 1 in 3,000 births. I
Wow.
did have a student who was suspect for this, and I saw the torture that the mother had gone through with her child.
Right.
It really inspired me to write. Although this story is purely fiction, it's not about any one particular person, not about any one particular child or mother.
Right. So then, as an author, how many unpublished and half published books do you have?
Well, Aaron and Me is my debut novel. I am now working towards the end of a prequel called Fragile as Glass. It is again about Kim, which will give the reader insight. It's about Kim and Hal before they had the child,
Uh-huh.
how they met, what their early um, marriage was like, and Kim in the early stages of her career. So I believe that it would give the reader more insight about Kim's behavior, um, how she comes to peace for a certain time period. And I'm also thinking about a third novel which might highlight a child with a different disease.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at right now.
Awesome. So what what do you owe the real people with you who you based your characters upon?
All of my characters are based on a combination of people. There is no one character that's based on one person. So, therefore, I don't owe anyone anything. Um, the names in my books are purely fictional. I change settings, and the situations also are a combination of things that I came across in my career as a teacher.
Nice. That's awesome. We got some people joining us. Hey,
Great.
Priscilla McGee. Actually, she's gonna be on with me later. And then we have John Boltman. Hey, John, how are you doing this afternoon? Make sure you guys, if you're now getting in on the conversation, make sure you hashtag replay if you are watching a replay and hashtag support authors, right? Um, and then make sure you share this because we need to support our author who is on with us at the moment, which is Deborah Finn. Hey, all right. So Deborah,
Yes.
um, with your book, right? What is a piece? I gotta save that one for last. But what does literary success look like to you?
Well, first of all, I would like to become a familiar name to people. Um, I've come across authors, Catherine Mackenzie, for example, who I read one book by her and then I wanted to read all her books because her writing style really appealed to me. I want to have books that are recognized by a number of people, which doesn't mean it has to be a bestseller, just that it should have meaning to a good amount of people. Uh, Naturally, I would like to have a sustainable income from this, and I just want to have something of value to leave behind
Right,
that
right.
may influence and inspire others.
My question is, would this open up doors for you to get into speaking at some point?
To speaking?
Yeah. Like, because you're researching about different, would you use this for a cause? Like, for example, the fibro, no, I can't say the whole word, fibro.
The Neurofibromatosis Network I am in touch with.
Hmm.
They have not asked me to speak, at least not yet.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, I mean,
I would love if they did.
yeah, and
Yes, I'm open to speaking, definitely. I have a live book reading coming up locally in June.
beautiful, beautiful. Um, so what was your hardest scene to write in this book, Adam and Me?
I think the hardest scene to write was chapter 1, when a mother is celebrating that this is the the birthday, so to speak, of his 18-month-old checkup. Everything has been going according to schedule. She hasn't had any reason to doubt that this would be a positive visit. And then she's blindsided by the pediatrician's reaction and instructions. She does decide after this visit that she will switch pediatricians because she feels, which most people would feel today, that she needs a pediatrician who will talk and explain things to her. One
Right.
thing that comes up in the book is that they had a previous visit with this doctor when the child had a virus one time. And her husband, Hal, asks, how can we make our child more comfortable? And the doctor's reaction was very arrogant. It was like, you want me to tell you in 15 minutes what it's taken me 30 years to study? So the doctor is not a great communicator, to put it mildly.
Yeah, that's not. Mm-mm.
And this was very hard to write because there was such drama in this situation. The mother is looking at her baby, her happy baby, who's beautiful in every aspect, and saying, how can anything possibly be wrong with you? And this is a refrain that recurs throughout the book. She never gets an answer from a doctor. Pertaining to how could anything be wrong with this child when everything has seemed so normal. They never are able to reassure her that Aaron is normal. And that's part of her process, that she must find it within herself to answer that question to herself.
Right. Wow. Wow. So, what would you say is the best chapter in your book?
That's a tough one. I guess when there's a chapter much later in the book when Kim does accept that he may or may not have this, he may or may not have a learning disability, but he's great despite everything. And it's also about the child rising above adversity. Because indeed, he did have a learning disability, he did have attention deficit disorder, but he is able to thrive despite all the odds.
Right. That's awesome. So that's like encouraging at that point, right? That,
Yes, it does end in a very positive note.
nice. Um, so do you want each of your books to stand on their own, or are you trying to build a body of work with connections between each book?
Well, mostly I want to write standalone books, but in the case of this, my first two books are a prequel and Aaron. And so those two are tied together. And because I want the reader to have an understanding of the main character, who is Kim. What motivates her? What strengths does she have? What are her weaknesses? and what are her experiences, and how does she go on
Right.
despite all these experiences.
Right. I think it'd be interesting to see how she goes on in the, after, even after the end of that book. You know what I mean? And how the child grows up. You know what I mean? And then if he has any adverse action or anything adverse happen in his life after. You know what I mean? Going through what he went through. I think that would be interesting.
Or in this case, Kim went through.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, we have Jim Vogel, and Jim Vogel is saying hello from California. And I believe he says he's reading. And he says, good luck with your book, Deborah Lynn.
Right. Thank you, John. I really appreciate that.
Yes.
Whoever is willing to check out my book, I would love to hear reviews from you also.
Nice. Yes. Make sure review. Support your authors. Review. So now, in the process of writing your book, right, who was your greatest support?
I guess my writers' groups were my greatest support. They critiqued me, they noted what was positive, and they noted what needed to be improved. So their support really helped me in starting the book, continuing the book, and finishing the book.
Right. All authors always need those great support systems, right?
Right.
So when you're I want to learn a little bit more about your writing process. If you can give me advice for others on how to write better. But for your process, how did you go about from structuring this book?
Structuring it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the story was pretty much in my head. So I wanted to write it in some kinds of chronological order from the time that Aaron, the other main character, is a baby until he's 8 years old. So I structured it in that way. His toddlerhood, preschool, elementary school experiences.
And then did you do like an outline when you were starting to write?
In this particular book, I did not outline it because I had the structure in my head. But in the case of the second book that is not complete yet, Fragile as Glass, I have written an outline.
Nice. That's good to know. So, what's some advice you can give other authors or newbie authors who are just getting started?
Keep writing. Find a supportive writers group. Don't get discouraged if your book is not picked up the traditional publishing way. Be prepared if you decide to self-publish to do a lot of marketing.
Yes. And then speaking on marketing, my favorite topic, what have you done thus far to market your book?
I have shared Aaron's link with many book promotion groups on Facebook. I am also sharing with Instagram and Twitter. Those were the beginning steps that I took. Then I came across a list of book promo sites where they will promote your book for free. So I enrolled in those, and I'm trying to develop an email list so that when there is news about this book and others, that I may share it that way.
Beautiful. That's great. I would suggest let me give you a little advice. I would suggest that because there's so much to do and so much overwhelm in trying to
Hmm.
do everything you're trying to do to market your book. Break it up by quarter. Okay. So and then
Quarters?
yeah, break it all up to quarters. Um, so that way you can say first quarter, my goal is to do this, and I'm gonna, make sure you set yourself, some odd goals to reach. If you don't reach them, you can reevaluate second quarter. But I would say plan out your all 4 quarters for a year. You could even go into the next year. Say I'm gonna do X number of events to put my book into different places. I'm going to put learn this new social media. I'm going to start working with them on this, quarter, and so on and so forth. Just break it up because you don't want to do everything at one time and then get submerged in chaos. You know what I mean? Take your time, do one at a time, and then eventually it'll all build. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Facebook will get easier, Twitter will get easier, and then where you guys can't, if you can't do it, make sure you automate. You know what I'm saying? Any task that you don't need to do yourself, automate it so that you can focus on other things, right?
Yes.
So,
I recently tried running a promotion where people can subscribe and there would be a drawing for the winner of a free book. I advertised it for Mother's Day. There has not been much of a response. The runners up, I would give Amazon gift cards to, and I'm trying to extend the deadline on that by at least a week.
so when you want people to sign up for something, you need to check your copy. What have you written? You know what I mean? And you got to ultimately make sure that in that copy it answers what's in it for them. Because I know you're saying like, oh, I'm going to give away Amazon gift cards and this, and that. But the thing is,
Mhm.
you're asking for information. So what ultimately, above all, is it in it for them? You know what I mean? Um, with the post, like you can take that, make sure you post it on this video after, right? For
I
that.
did make a video.
Yeah. No, I mean post it on this live video that we're making right now.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, so whoever comes and watches the replay, they'll be able to go and sign up. Um, but then just I would say whenever it comes down to that, it's all about the verbiage. And people think that their copy is like really good and like, oh, people are just gonna come running and sign up for it. That sometimes it doesn't work like that, especially if they don't know you yet. You know what I mean? So just structure it. I would, if nobody signed up yet, just go back and look at the copy, restructure it, and then try again.
What do you think of podcasts?
Podcasts are excellent. It depends on what you're going to podcast about, but you can, like with my podcast and with my radio show stuff, you can reach a lot of people with the podcast, most definitely.
Well, I was thinking of reading the first chapter in a podcast.
That'd be smart. You could also go live. I would any chance that you guys have to go live, do it on your business page because when you go live, your reach is so much broader than just posting. Video, it gets more engagement than just posting on the platform. Facebook loves video. It'll throw your video out farther than what you could think. So if you get a chance, go live.
Okay.
Delilah's the podcast queen. No, I'm not the podcast queen. I'm the Facebook Live.
Okay.
I'm good at going Facebook Live, but what I do is when I go live, you can invite other authors to come on with you, or people or you can do like maybe a book, like where you can bring on people who have read your book and hold like a book discussion type deal, but live, right? Because like if you
That
use
would be great.
yeah, as if you use apps like Blue Jeans and I believe the other one's BeLive.tv, you
Hmm.
can bring on multiple people, and then that will share with their audience, right? So then you're getting into a different audience because they're going to share that video because they're in the video with you, right? And it'll
Oh,
expand that way too. So
okay.
keep that in mind when you're doing strategy with Facebook because people, for some reason, people have gotten stuck in this rut of sharing in the Facebook groups, and they're not even reader groups; they're other author groups. And
That's one mistake that I made also. I joined a lot of author groups, and then I started to think, wouldn't it be better to post in reader groups, people who would potentially read any number of my books?
exactly, and that's where you got to find where your audience communes, right? Um,
Yes.
have you done your background to? Hey, hey Jennifer, everybody's coming on now. What's up with yeah? um, So have you done your audience insights or, figure out your avatar for your perfect reader?
Can you repeat the question? It was hard to understand you.
Your basically your audience demographics. Do you know what they are?
Basically, I'm writing for women anywhere from age 18 through 60.
Okay. So I would say that you include in that topic for the illness that was in the book, right? Because there
Yes,
might a lot of your readers might be actual parents that have children of or be a children that had or has that illness, right? So
hmm
you can tap into that market, tap into the market, or to the people who are interested in that foundation you were talking about. They would
right.
be interested in your book. Parent groups, like different parenting groups if you're gonna go to Facebook group route. But you guys, don't forget that there are also old school forums, and they are just as vibrant and being used up as Facebook groups. Forums are basically on other websites where
Right.
people have a forum on different discussions. Get in there, talk about stuff, and then say, well, I wrote the book, this, and then put something about it and put your link. Backlinks are great, right?
Yes,
So keep that in mind.
I
Um,
will.
yeah, I'm gonna be posting. Actually, I have a whole bunch of posts I've constructed because my marketing and coffee group. I've been so busy I haven't been posting in there, but I'm about to release a whole 15-day series of information for them. So keep in keep in mind. But yeah, that's all I gotta say
Are
today.
there are there any more questions from the audience?
um, They said, I love that. Oh, John Boltman. He says, I love Deborah Lynn's accent. Which borough?
I grew up in Queens, New York.
Oh, I couldn't even tell. Good. John is really good at catching people. And then Jennifer Morris is on. Say hi. Hey, Jennifer. Thanks for popping in. Um, yeah. And then, but yeah, that's it. What we have for questions. Oh, Jim Vogel asked, where is the promo list that you were speaking about?
I have it on my regular Facebook page, which you can find on deb.fine.
Deb.fine.
hmm
All right.
It's also on Mailer Lite. It's also on my website, which is www.deborahlynnfine.org.
DeborahLynnFine.org. All right.
Yes.
All right. So, Deborah,
One moment. Okay.
so with that, um, I'm gonna say, is there anything else you wanted for anybody to know about you? And then we'll run through your list. I put on here a Bitly link that goes to Deborah's book on Amazon on the post, which is Bitly bit.ly .com/ Deborah Lynn Finn FEIN. And then
Yes.
Deborah, go ahead and let them know where else they can find you and connect with you.
Okay.
Oh,
Can you say that again? Because you're fading in and out a little bit.
I said if you can let them know where else they can find you and how they can contact you.
I'm willing to share my email address, D as in Deborah, L as in Lynn, 8895 at AOL.com.
There you go. All right. So if you guys are watching this after the broadcast, make sure you hashtag replay. And if you are here and you have read her book, make sure you hashtag authors supporting authors or hashtag I read the book. Then you can also do, I was going to say, I said hashtag supporting authors. You know, I have a lot of hashtags today, guys. Yeah. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap it up here. Deborah, thank you for coming on with me on Marketing and Coffee.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
No problem. Anytime. One moment.